Kent Hovind v. Robert Stanley on the Right to Reason podcast concerning evolution happens right now.
Every farmer in the world, for all of human history, has counted on evolution not happening.
Right, but you haven't seen a wolf produce a chihuahua, but we accept that through all the series of different dog adaptations, whether it be natural or not, we've seen that chihuahuas can be developed from a wolf, but a wolf doesn't give birth to a chihuahua. I mean, in the same sense of a Spanish-speaking mother never gave birth to an English-speaking baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how progression occurs. That's not how evolution happens.
I think we could agree that the Chihuahua and the wolf are related. I think we have observed incredible variations in the dog gene code. There now are 339 recognized breeds of dogs in America at the American Kennel Association. Okay, from the Chihuahua to the Great Dane. If you want to expand that to the wolf, the coyote, maybe the fox even, I don't know, maybe the jackal. I don't know how far this goes. But I think that the Bible says they bring forth after their kind.
Kind is not a scientific term.
Neither is species. A horse and a zebra
species is definitely a scientific term used in biology.
A horse and a zebra are different species. They can still interbreed. You tell me exactly what the word species means, please.
If something can still interbreed, it is not a different species.
Why are horse and zebra listed as different species that they can interbreed and produce a zorse?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just telling you the simple definition of species. If two things can't screw, then they're different species. It's that basic. It's a very simple definition. And I mean, it's even an easier definition than kind, which you would expect kind to be basic and simple, being that it's from the Bronze Age perhaps, but it's not. Like, what kind is a raccoon? What kind is that? Like, it doesn't really make sense for stuff. I mean, the Bible even contradicted itself in terms of whether a bat was a kind of bird when it's not. That's why we don't use the word kind in science, because it's just not sufficient to explain the divergence of life.
Okay. Are dark brown people and light brown people able to crossbreed and produce offspring that are viable?
Yes.
What they commonly call a black person and a white person. They can mate and produce babies, right?
Yes.
Can any of the humans that we recognize as humans, black, white, Chinese, whatever, can they crossbreed with apes, chimpanzees, orangutans, or monkeys and produce offspring?
No.
So are they a different kind?
Once again, the term kind, like if you're asking me to define kind, my best efforts would just be quoting Bible scriptures. And that's really not going to help us in dealing in science. And I think you would accept that. Like, we can't.
I don't accept it. Oh. The Bible says if they can bring forth, they are the same kind. A horse and a zebra can bring forth, and a 5-year-old kid knows a horse and a zebra are the same kind of animal, and the horse and a bat cannot bring forth. Neither can a horse and a dog or a horse and a pine tree. So there are obviously different kinds of life on the planet. And every farmer for all of human history has counted on things breeding after their kind. You might get bigger corn or smaller corn or sweet corn or sour corn or popcorn, but it's corn. It doesn't turn into a pine tree or an acorn or a walnut or a cap.
But Kent, we're not talking about basic farmer stuff. I mean, if you were going to go get a vaccination against a flu vaccine, which has evolved to resist its last vaccination from less than a year ago, you're not going to ask a farmer what to put in that hypodermic needle. You're not going to ask somebody that wrote the Bible on animal skins what to put in that needle. You're going to want to ask somebody that knows about this stuff.
Let's assume that the flu vaccine, which I don't believe vaccine should be used at all, that's another topic.
I should have asked that one from the beginning. You're anti-vax?
Well, no, I'm pro-life. I'm pro-health. I don't think your doctor even knows what's in those needles he's putting into your arm. Ask him.
I missed the buck on that one. Okay, but we're gonna go down a pretty wild spiral, and our time's limited. So go ahead, and then I'll follow up with some other questions.
Okay, microevolution I think is a lousy term, but basically it means animals produce a wide variety of offspring. You may get a dog with long hair or short hair, long legs or short legs, straight tail or curly tail. But it's always a dog. And nature would select certain ones to survive based upon what happens. If you turn all the dogs in the world loose into Alaska, the thin-furred dogs would not survive. Only the thick-furred dogs would survive.
Yeah.
And after a couple of generations, you're going to have nothing left up there but the wolf or the, husky.
Yeah.
Well, okay, nature did not create the long hair on the dog. It selected the long hair to survive. But if you turned all those same dogs loose into the desert of Australia, now the thick fur is detrimental, and they're going to overheat and die, and so they don't get to produce the next generation. So pretty soon, after 4 or 5 generations, you have a whole population of dingoes with thin fur, long legs to get away from desert heat. Nature did not create that. It selected it. Natural selection is wonderful. It works fine.
You are nailing this 100%, Kent. I'm with you. Yes.
But it's still a dog, and it's only selecting something that was in the gene code.
But why would you assume that something could be in the gene code in relation to thickness of fur, but not in relation to other things that might start developing over time that could, reshape the animal in its entirety? Why is that like such a big stretch? If you can go this far with me, why can't you keep going?
Well, you just left science and went to religion. What we observe is exactly that. The farmer might get bigger cows. They've developed cows to give more milk or cows to give more beef. I agree. They have selected slices of the already existing gene code to get what they want to be the most profitable for their region. But they're still cow, and the further you get away from the norm, the more problems you have. Now you got to babysit the dumb cow. You turn him loose into the woods and he's going to die. Oh, it's same with the dogs. How long would the Chihuahuas last in the woods?
Not long. So, okay, and I would be satisfied in that because I'm not a big Chihuahua fan. You keep bringing up evolution as a religion, and I wanted to ask, and here's a tough hypothetical, okay? So bear with me, all right? If I said I could, if I had wings, then I could jump off the roof of my house and fly. We both know I don't have wings. It's a hypothetical question, okay? The point is to generate the next point of discussion, hypothetically. So if one day evolution could be shown to you, to your satisfaction that it's actually real and that it is true, would you still believe in God?
I guess you'd have to define what you mean by evolution. What everybody's observed is not what they use the term evolution for.
All right. And whatever definition is comfortable for you. Just if one day that dogs and horses are related biologically could be shown to you, to your satisfaction, that it's real, would you still believe in God regardless?
Well, you're talking about 2 living organisms. Getting from non-life to life is a giant jump that the evolutionist has to do.
Yeah, I know. It's a hypothetical, Kent. Like I'm not requiring a yes or no here. I'm just saying like I'm not trying to jump all over the place. I'm just saying like if evolution was true and you accepted it, would you still be a theist? Is that a fair question?
I would have to not accept it. I have to believe in it. Okay, it's capital B. It's a
all
belief.
Right.
It's a religion.
If you believed in evolution, would you still be a theist?
I think I do believe in evolution. I do believe dogs and wolves have a common ancestor, and I think microevolution happens. We have millions of examples for it.
Kent, you're killing me here. If you believed in macroevolution, would you still believe in God anyway? If it could be presented to you in a way that you would believe it, would you stop believing in God?
If it could be proven that there is no limit to these variations, that macroevolution actually happens, that would be a major step to discrediting the Bible.
Would you still believe the Bible?
No, that would be a step they would say, okay, I'm going to question this now. If someone could show me that macroevolution is a scientific fact, by that I mean, can you prove pine trees are related to bananas or to squirrels? Okay, they're obviously very different kind. I don't know what the original kinds were, but I know there are probably, let's pick a number and say there are 8,000 kinds of animals in the world on land. This would not count the fish because Noah didn't have to take fish on the ark. 8,000 kinds of animals. If it could be proven that all 8,000 kinds can come from one common ancestor, which is what evolution believes, then that would certainly discredit the biblical teaching that they bring forth after their kind. But this is one of those, if cows could jump over the moon, would you believe, in gravity? Well, come on, this is a dumb line of thought. No, we don't observe. Nobody's ever observed any animal produce anything other than what is obviously, to a 5-year-old, the same kind of offspring.
This is fascinating to me. I did not, I will honestly say that I appreciate your answer. I did not expect you to say that this would, I don't think you actually, I don't want to misquote you here, but I don't think you actually said you would stop believing in God, you stop being a Christian, but you did say that it would cause you to seriously doubt the Bible's validity. And I did not see that one coming. That was a sidewinder for me. But if that's the case, it seems to me like I mischaracterized you, Kent. I was thinking of your belief in creationism as being more or less a derivative of your faith.
No, my creation is a derivative of my science. I observe squirrels produce squirrels, and there may be black squirrels or white squirrels or gray squirrels or kaibab squirrels, but that's all we observe. You show me any squirrel produce a non-squirrel, or any dog produce a non-dog. But the evolutionist does believe and does teach in the textbooks that dogs came from something non-dog. They ultimately teach that dogs came from a rock. That is exactly what the textbooks teach, and I've got them in front of me if you want to hear the quotes. That the rocks dissolved in the rain 4.6 billion years ago as the earth cooled down, and it got concentrated into little puddles through evaporation, and these the minerals from the rocks formed into cells and came alive. And that single cell became multi-celled, and the multi-cell became, even bigger. And ultimately, elephants and bananas have a common ancestor, and it was a rock. That is exactly what the textbook says.
That's not what I say. That is not what any textbook I've read, other than the ones from whenever I was going to Christian school. That's what they said evolution was. But once I actually took college biology, it did not say that. No, it did not say that any, what would you say, fish comes from rocks or anything? No, that's not what...
Public textbooks. I've got them in front of me if you want to go down that road. We've gone way over time here. But you need to watch my video number 1 or number 4 of my series on drdino.com, and I show all this. This is what they teach. And I say, guys, you are welcome to believe that. I don't care what you believe. But you're spreading a religion at taxpayer expense. This is wrong. Go fund your own school and have your own religion and teach whatever you want. I don't care what they teach. But they're demanding that all of us pay for their religion to be taught, and I resent that.
I'll give you this much. If I believed evolution to be what you believe evolution to be, I would not believe evolution either. And I think that's at least honest from your perspective. You shouldn't believe that. That's crazy talk. And if that was my concept of evolution, I would reject it as well. And to follow that up, you really threw a sidewinder there, and the conversation just got interesting, and I hate to call it right then, but your basis of belief in God, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't faith-based?
I think it's observation. If you walk through the woods and found a painting hanging on a tree, and you look around, there are no footprints, there are no people, you holler, hey, anybody here? Nobody answers.
Yeah, it'd have a painter, sure.
You would believe in a painter. Is that faith-based or observation-based?
Observation, absolutely.
Sure. You're walking through the woods and you find a building. Nobody there, nobody around, no footprints, no evidence.
Builder observation. I'm with you 100%.
Okay. I look at creation and say there had to be a creator.
Well, you're calling it creation, though.
That doesn't, I look at a flea. Incredibly tiny, has all the systems that you have, can eat, sleep, reproduce, hear, smell, taste, and fly. More complicated than humans, in a whole lot less space. Do you think that evolved by chance, or was that designed? What would the observation tell somebody with half a brain and one eye?
What your question would tell me is that you're presenting a false dichotomy. That's a logical fallacy. You said, was it designed or was it just chaos? I don't know that being random or coming from God are the only two options available. And even if those were the only two options available, that wouldn't mean that you'd have to accept either one. I mean, that's just basic logic.
Right. Both options may be wrong. I understand how that works, okay?
Music brought to you by A Lost State of Mind, and find more debates like this at therighttoreason.com.